Paul Peterson is president and founder of A Minor Consideration. It's a organization that gives free guidance to young performers and to their families. The website is minorcon.org. Paul, as always, thoroughly enjoyed that you were able to make the time for us.
Larry, and hey, happy Easter weekend.
You too. Now, Paul, this lawsuit, obviously we don't know the truth. We just know that a lawsuit's been filed. But I remember when Corey Feldman wrote a autobiography, Paul, he said that the number one problem in Hollywood was pedophilia. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
That is, of course, Corey's position, and he was attacked roundly, as you well know, Larry. There is a tendency for this industry, the entertainment industry, to defend the perpetrator and attack the victim. We just had another lesson this very week down in Australia where a young actress, Sarah Monahan, after years of allegation, was vindicated in court when the star of her long-running family show, Robert Hughes, was found guilty on 10 of 11 charges and faces sentencing May 2nd. This is long-standing abuse that occurred in front of everybody, and everybody knew it.
Paul, I have a friend who's an actor. He's about 10 years younger than I, and he told me when he was a teenager, a prominent casting guy made an overture to him, and he said a few years after that he was sitting around with a bunch of other stars about his age, and he mentioned it, and then somebody else mentioned it, and it turns out a chorus of people had similar experience, not just with that guy, but with a bunch of other people.
Well, yes, and look, you and I, Larry, hadn't been born when the term the casting couch came into being. Mm-hmm. These days, that goes for young girls and young boys, and it's a nasty, ugly part of our culture.
Do you know anything at all about this director's reputation, the one who's being sued?
Well, I had a run-in with Bryan Singer several years ago on a movie called Apt Pupil, when, without the knowledge or consent of parents who were in the very next room, young boys were filmed with full frontal nudity, and there were 2 studio teachers on the set, and they did nothing. And there was a lawsuit back then, mm-hmm. which I was a part of, and Gloria Allred and a whole bunch of other people.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking to Paul Peterson, president and founder of A Minor Consideration. Again, the website is minorcon.org. Paul, this plaintiff who filed this lawsuit against Bryan Singer claims he was molested when he was 17. He's now about 31 years old. Why wait so long?
Well, I think he had to get his head right, and it's only the change in the law in Hawaii that permitted him to file this case. But you have to ask yourself, who in their right mind at age 31 would subject themselves to what is sure to come in terms of negative publicity unless there was some kernel of truth in it. And I've heard every excuse in the world. I see Hollywood is worried about the box office of the new X-Men next month. They are saying, hey, 17-year-olds know what they're doing. But, you know, the statutes are what they are. Mm-hmm. The molestation of a child is dead wrong.
And, Paul, I got to tell you something. In a very bizarre way, I have a feeling that the publicity is not going to hurt this movie at all. Well,
I happen to agree with you. I know I'm looking forward to the movie. I like the X-Men movies.
Paul, the other Corey Haim, the one who died,
yes.
He died, they say, from pneumonia. Is that your understanding of how and why he died?
I'm sorry, Larry, you were breaking up just then. I'm sorry. What was that?
Corey Haim, the one who died, I think he's in his 30s. The official reason for death was pneumonia, but I understand he was also abusing drugs. What's the truth?
Well, I don't think we're ever going to know. Mm-hmm. You know, to stay on point here, I think the history of young men in the entertainment industry is filled with all sorts of stories, some of which are true, some of which are wishful thinking. I know that in my experience, because I was so dedicated to chasing girls, that this kind of went over my head. But that didn't keep me from being aware of many circumstances. And it still bothers me, Larry, to this day, that the industry seems to want Roman Polanski to come back into this country. Mm-hmm. Personally, I want him to come in if he serves his term in the general population.
Well, apparently there's a different standard, Paul, if you make good movies.
Well, isn't that always the case? Celebrities seem to be excused all sorts of misconduct. And the more powerful you are within this industry, the more people fear you. Of course, I don't have to worry about this. You know, my friend Allison Arngram works very closely with Protect.org, which is very vigilant with this. And I don't care if I ever work again in the business.
And, Paul, the reason I mentioned the book by Corey Feldman is that, if I'm not mistaken, it's called Choreography, and he claims that both of them were either hit on or had to do something in order to get apart.
That is correct. Mm-hmm. And he's sticking by his guns, too.
Right.
And I have to tell you, I believe him. And I happen to believe this young man as well. The problem we're going to have is proving it in court. And I've already heard some of the defenses, you know, that there are credit card bills and phone records, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But this was, I mean, who puts a 17-year-old on an airplane and flies them to Hawaii? Mm-hmm. Who does that?
Mm-hmm. Paul Peterson, president, founder of A Minor Consideration. The website is minorcon.org. Paul, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry. Again, happy Easter weekend.
You too.